Alright, it's time to get started with our first document. However, I'd like to introduce something to you before we begin. It's this website, papersizes.org. What it does is it lists the different paper sizes along with the dimensions. You'll find a wide variety of sizes here, from ISO standard sizes to American sizes. ISO stands for International Organization for Standards, which is a body that determines recognized standards across many things, including paper. Whilst there are multiple paper standards, the most common and recognizable one is the A series, which is standard in office environments, with A4 being the standard office document size. The advantage of the ISO system is how it scales, with each size being either twice as big or half the size of its adjacent paper size. Here you'll also find other paper sizes for functional use like postcard, posters, or newspaper sizes, etc. If you click on one of the sizes, you can even change the unit as per your requirement or understanding, and it will show you the calculation. While working on InDesign, no matter what designs you indulge yourself in, good knowledge of the different paper sizes is always necessary. Alright, so back to InDesign. Once you double-click the InDesign icon, this is where you'll land. This course is illustrated on Adobe InDesign 2021 version, which is presently the latest one. So if you're using a very old version, the icons and layout might be a little different than what you see here. These icons that you see are the documents I've worked on recently. Hence, for ease, they are populating here. So I can just double click on any of them to open and start working. To create a new document, click the Create New button and you'll reach here. You'll find the main screen with different sizes along with their dimensions, and now you have some idea about the names and dimensions already thanks to papersizes.org. On top you'll find a few tabs like Saved and Print in Web or Mobile. These are nothing but sizes pertaining to the segments, so when I click the Print tab and then click View All Presets, it gives me a variety of presets that are used in print media. You also get a wide variety of templates you can use without worrying much about designing. And this is something you'll see if you've subscribed to the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite. You might not find this option otherwise. Similarly, clicking the web or mobile tabs will offer presets and templates pertaining to the relevant sizes. So let's click the Print tab and select Letter as our size. On the right are the settings, so by default you'll find picas as the default unit for InDesign. So if you click it, you'll find other options you can choose from. Let's choose inches. This tells you that the letter size is 8.5 inches wide and 11 inches tall if the orientation is set to portrait. Change the orientation to a landscape and it just flips the sizes, making the width 11 inches and height 8.5 inches. In the Pages option, if you know beforehand how many pages you want your document to have, you can mention that number here, else let it be 1, or let's change it to 5 for this demonstration. It can easily be changed later while in the document. Facing Pages option should be checked if you want your document to display the pages much like in a book where there are two sides facing each other. If you want to design a poster, for example, then you'd ideally want to keep it unchecked. Start number is by default set to 1, assuming you are just starting to compose your book, as this option is mostly used while you're composing a book. So what happens is when a book is graphically intense and has a lot of images, it can slow down your computer. So it's always advisable to divide the book into chapters, and for each chapter there should be a new document made. So in such a situation, any chapter after chapter 1 wouldn't really start with page 1. So let's say chapter 2 starts from page 15. So you'd mention 15 here. You'll get a better idea when we learn how to create a book layout. So let's not worry too much about it yet. A primary text frame is a special kind of page frame used to control the primary text flow in a document. You'll have a fair idea when we discuss it in one of the videos, so for now, let's keep it unchecked. Then comes the column. For now, I'd like to just have one column in my document. I'll show you soon enough how to change the number of columns after our document is created. The column gutter here is the space between the two columns. Now, obviously, whenever we design a document, be it any document, we don't start typing from the edge of the page because it would look too clumsy then, and that's where margins come into the picture. When you increase the margin on one side, all the other sides get updated automatically as they are linked by default. So if you wish to change the margins individually of all sides, unlink it by clicking this icon. And you should be able to update the margins individually as you please. Click it again and it's linked. Bleed is ink that prints beyond the trim edge of the page to ensure it extends to the edge of the page after trimming. As there is a degree of movement when printing on any press, you should always create some bleed on all edges where bleed is needed. Supplying your job without bleed may result in white lines when we trim it. I'll demonstrate this once we are in the document. So let's set it to 0.125 inch for now. And much like margins, this can also be set individually using the link or unlink button here. When a document goes to the printing press, there are a few technical marks printed outside the document area, and these are important for high quality printing. The slug area is just one of these optional page marks. Essentially, the area is located outside of the normal printing boundaries and it contains information about the printing job. So we'll keep it 0 for now. One last thing to talk about here is that now that we have entered our numbers, and let's suppose this is the size and the settings we often use, so it's always better to save this as a template. So let's rename it here as my template and click this icon to save. And it brings you to this screen. So type in your template name once again and hit Save Preset. Now next time when we'll need to create a document using the same settings, all we need to do is click the Saved tab, and here you'll find the template sitting comfortably. So click it and you'll be introduced to your document. Let me go to pages 2 and 3 by double-clicking the page's thumbnail. You see these two pages are facing pages, the option of which we saw earlier. Let's minimize the pages panel as we'll discuss it in another video. Let's also close the paragraph styles panel. We'll discuss it later. Now let's go to File and then Document Setup. Here you'll find most of the options that we saw earlier while creating this document. We can always update the number of pages here. So from 5, let's make it 8 pages. Also, unchecking the Facing Pages option will show us the pages individually like we see on MS Word. You can always change the page size as well as the orientation from here. You see how by changing the margins here reflects instantly on our document. Another excellent feature of InDesign is that you see the units here are shown in picas. But assume I don't understand picas, but have a fair understanding of inches or millimeters like anyone else has. So I want to add a margin of 0.5 inch here. So what I'm going to do is enter 0.5 and then IN for inches. And InDesign will do the calculation and show the equivalent of 0.5 inch in pica here. The same way we can easily update the bleed and slug from here as well. And I'm sure you know what they mean by now. So hit OK. To adjust the columns, you need to go to Layout and then Margins and Columns. You can update the margins from here as well, but we're more interested in columns because we've already discussed margins. So let's update the columns to 2. And you see on the right, the gutter option can be used to reduce or enlarge the space between the two columns. So once you're satisfied with the space between them, hit OK. To view the pages, you can use the mouse roller to go down or up the pages. You can even use the scroll bars on the right and at the bottom to navigate through the pages. Another option is this hand icon. So click on it and then using your mouse, click and move the mouse to move around the screen. Now let's talk about the zoom tool. In fact, let me grab the text tool and drag to make a text box and let's type in something. Now grab the zoom tool, which looks like a magnifying glass. And if I want to magnify the text, I will take the magnifying glass there and then click and move the mouse to the right, and it will magnify the part of the screen I clicked on. Without releasing the mouse button, if you move the mouse to the left, it will zoom out. So it's a nice way to move quickly to a particular point on my page. You can even hold Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC and use the mouse roller to zoom out or zoom in quickly. And this is valid irrespective of the tool selected. You can even hold the Command key on a Mac or Control key on a PC and use the mouse roller to move left and right or up and down. So this does not help in zooming in or out, but it does help in moving up and down or right and left. Also, this feature might not be available with every mouse. The rulers that you see on top and left are really handy and in some cases necessary as well while designing. To show rulers, go to View and then select Show Rulers option. Mine is already showing, which is why the option says Hide Rulers here. The shortcut to show or hide rulers is Command R on a Mac or Control R on a PC. Now let's take the cursor to the ruler on top, click, hold and drag a guide to the page. InDesign's ruler guides act just like page elements. So you can select one or more guides at a time, copy and paste them, and even position selected guides numerically using the control or transform palettes. Let's drag another guide on this page here. Now if I need another text box like this on the left page aligned to this text box, my guides here will help me achieve that. So let me take this text box to snap it to the guide horizontally as well as vertically. Now with the text box selected, I can hit Command C on a Mac or Control C on a PC to copy this text box, and then hit Command V on a Mac or Control V on a PC to paste it, and then drag the new text box to snap it to the guides I created on the left page. Without my guides, I wouldn't really be able to place them on the same line on both the pages. So that's how guides help placing elements on pages. And this is particularly useful when your page has a lot of different elements and alignments, like in case of designing a resume or a poster. Since the guides act much like any other page elements, an accidental move can make things difficult. So to prevent this from happening, you have the option of locking the guides as well. And to do that, you can go to View and then Grids and Guides and then Lock Guides. And the shortcut to achieve this is Option, Command and semicolon on a Mac or Alt, Control and semicolon on a PC. And now if you try to move the guides, they won't move the muscle. Now let me grab the rectangle marquee tool and make a rectangle on top left and bottom left corners. In fact, let's move the frame on top to the edge of the page, and the frame on the bottom has already been aligned to the bleed area. Now with both my frames selected, I'm going to go to File and then Place and locate the images from my computer and click on them one by one to place them. You see, this should give you a clearer picture of why bleed is necessary, particularly when you have images that extend to the edges of the pages. The printer will eventually slice off the points where the whites of the pages end, and if there is any degree of movement, then there will be an ugly white line on both sides of the image on top, but there is no chance of it happening with the image at the bottom, since it is extended till the bleed zone. Hit W, which is the shortcut, to preview the document as it would look once printed. Alright guys, that concludes our topic. Next, we're going to learn how to set up our workspace to enhance our workflow. So see you there.